Yeah, perfect.
Hi. And as you can see, day 9, we start out with the wonderful Carey from Intuitiview. Hi, Kim. And
Hello.
as we're recording today, Kim is in England. That's why she
Yay.
doesn't have her usual picture, her usual background behind her. And I want to thank Kim for taking time out of her vacation to come over and help us with the 9 candles. And Kim and I've
Thank you for
discussed this.
inviting me.
And day 9 is this is the culmination. This is the day that after we light the candle, you should have gone out before now. Well, depending on where you are in the US, when check on your sunset, because as the sun sets tonight, Jupiter and Venus will be as close as they get. They'll look almost like one big star right next to the sun. You can go, there's Star Guide, there's all kinds of little apps you can download on your phone, and they'll tell you exactly where it is. And they're meeting in the constellation of the Gemini, Castor and Pollux.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's all kinds of lovely harmony in this. So we're gonna
Nice.
go one more time to the candles, and then we'll come back and talk to Miss Kim.
Sounds good.
As Jupiter and Venus meet in the sky today, June 9th, I'm going to pick these up, guys, because they're really too hard. They've gotten too burnt down for me to. As Jupiter and Venus meet in the sky today, they bring us a moment of expansion, beauty, and hope, and a heart centered possibility. Jupiter brings us growth and wisdom, abundance and vision. Go. And Venus's candle always lights easier than Jupiter's. I know what its problem is. Venus brings love, harmony, creativity, and pleasure. And we honor that connection. Together, they create powerful, energetic doorway for gratitude, attraction, healing, and joy. Imagine standing tonight beneath the twilight sky, just at sunset, looking up into the golden rose lit light. And above you, Jupiter and Venus shine together. And the cool thing about this is we talk about this all the time. You hear people talk about it in astrology, these planets are together. This time you can really see it. They shine together brightly, two celestial lights weaving their energies into one radiant stream. Jupiter whispers to us, dream larger, trust the path that's opening before you. And Venus whispers, open your heart, receive beauty, allow love and kindness to flow freely. And then I want you to see their combined light gently pouring down upon you like a liquid starlight. It fills your heart first, softening the old worries, dissolving the heaviness, and awakening hope. Let this light move through your body, into your mind for clarity, into your spirit for faith, into your hands for creation, into your future for possibility. And this is the day where we ask quietly, what am I ready to welcome with joy? Where am I being called to trust abundance? How can I create more beauty and harmony in my life? Sit still and let these intentions rise. I open my heart to divine timing. I welcome growth guided by love. I trust beauty unfolding in my life. I feel the energy of Jupiter and Venus glowing within myself, expansive, gentle, and full of possibilities. This is when we bring all the 9 lights of these candles to us. This is when you're ready. This is when you are ready to return slowly, carrying the light of these candles with you. And ta-da, now we get to see Miss Kim.
Yay.
Yay.
That was beautiful.
Anyway, it's a love. I mean, every time I've done this, it's made me feel stronger and happier and
Yeah.
more joyful. And you can feel it as you light the candles each time. It's a pain in the butt to sit there and light the candles all the time. I really thought, can I just get one big tall candle and just light it? And you can do that. That will work, whatever you want to have. Or you can just light a candle on the ninth day and say, and let it burn till it's burnt down. And so, what's your hope for happiness and healing and all the good stuff that's going on around us?
Well, and in reading, because you kind of sent me, the notes about what everything, what this is all, what the focus is this time.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think about, it talked about allowing love and kindness to flow freely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, in this time, depending on um, where your focus is, there is a, a, a constant kind of presence in leadership that is cruel and is mean and is
Mm-hmm.
dishonest and and you can become very guarded with your heart. It can really make you be a little uh, you know, not wanting to allow anything in
Mm-hmm.
because everything hurts. It kind of feels like everything hurts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, especially if you are an empath, you kind of feel everything. And um, I think that it is so important at this time to do exactly that, to allow love and kindness and generosity of spirit and all of these things to flow
Mm-hmm.
freely because if we don't, it's like a stopped up sink, it kind of if
Yeah.
we all set down and guard, it can't flow and it's got to flow through people. Um, this is all the changes we'd like to see are all going to happen through individuals, which become
Mm-hmm.
the collective. So if you're the one allowing love to come in and allowing kindness to come in and still taking the chance to trust and to be open, um, that allows for change and it allows for positive change. So yeah, so that's what I was pondering, thinking about when I got your the notes about what this was going to be about.
Yeah. This one, I had sworn the last time I did 9 candles. I wasn't doing them anymore. Um, but this one, my guides, they just woke me up and they said, dong, dong, dong. One of the problems is we have this marvelous conjunction today on the 9th of June, all over the world, whether you're in England, whether you're here, whether you're in Africa, wherever you are, even when you're in those countries that have, we're actually in there tomorrow. Um, we're doing it that way. And you you can feel it. And it's a gift that's given to everyone. There's no borders. This is where the borders disappear
Right.
and the boundaries that we put around ourselves disappear. And I was telling Kim earlier, I have some friends and they will get really wound up with the negative, and they'll send me angry little twitters or look what this person said or whatever, and I just write them back with something positive. I keep a list. I actually get a newsletter called Nice News, and
Mhm.
it tells you wonderful things that I can remember. I'm so old. I can remember when they actually had good news in the news, and you'd hear a good news story. They mixed it up, and you don't hear that unless you
No.
seek it out. And but once you seek it out, it's so easy to let go of the angry parts. I always say, it starts with a glimmer of hope, a glimmer of possibility. And then as you look for more glimmers come because you're looking for glimmers instead of looking for darkness. And we are not looking for darkness, and this is such an abundance of light.
Yes, and talking about that, your attention and your focus is so powerful. And when you're focused on the negative and you're focused on fear,
Hmm.
um, that is it is unintentionally adding fuel to the fire,
Oh yeah.
because it draws you in, and now you're fearful, and now you're, but that attention and focus, I mean, you're right, to preempt that and turn it to something good, or even just to turn it to something that you're interested in, or that you're
Hmm.
curious about, or that you enjoy,
Hmm.
doing something else with your focus that um, allows the positive to flow through you in whatever form that it can, in whatever form that you'll allow it to come in.
That's right. It's that quantum theory of, what we hold closest is what we get. And
Yeah.
one of the one of the earlier candles was a guy named Tim Walter, and he wrote a book called What Now? And he is in England near you. He's up in York. Um, he
All
lives
right.
on the edge of the
We were
Yorkshire
just
border.
there.
Huh? You've been
We were
there?
just there. We were just there last week in York. It's an
Yeah, and
amazing place. It's really cool. Yeah.
it's a gorgeous place. And he talks about how he started out in London in a high-powered media career and ended up, you know, understanding spiritual quantum physics in York. And his book, What Now? Is how do we deal with this? How do we make this real for ourselves? How do we become part of it? And
Mhm.
he talks about the getting on the liminal edge of what they call foam in spiritual world. They call the area that the good stuff rises out of, or the bad, whatever you choose,
Mhm. Mhm.
rises out. It's called foam. And I think that's a perfect way to see it. It's like gooey, ooey stuff that we pull up and we create it into something. And, Tim, when we were talking about this, he said the same thing. It's all depends on what we want to make of it. What, and we're just really beginning to understand that in a way. And actually in the old 11th century mystics in the Christian church, they really had Eckhart, yeah, Eckhart, who was the guy, he he wrote a lot about, when you read his sermons, you're like, um, that could be coming off a YouTube channel now in positivity, you know. And those, he was writing in dark times. He was writing in the times of plague and other things, but he was saying,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, yes, this is a reality that's around you, but then look at what's beyond it.
Right.
And so that's where we are.
It really is. It's got to flow through us, right? We've got to be the ones to do it, and so that's where it has to start. And I even think, even if you do feel like I've got to see what's happening, I just have to know. Then, like you said, the nightly news. You used to watch local news, 6 o'clock, 6 to 6:30, something like that, and at the end, they'd always end with good news. They'd always
Mm-hmm.
end with some kind of feel good thing. So if you do have to watch it, end like that. End with something positive. Go find, like you said, go find there's the Good News Network. There's lots of places to find good news, but end with something good. Don't just end on that fearful, scary, oh my gosh, kind of
And
um
standing on the precipice of the horrible.
yeah.
No, I get a
Give yourself a
newsletter.
soft landing.
I get a newsletter called Nice News.
Yeah.
It's all about, and
Yeah.
it's great stuff, and it's from all over the world and wonderful things that are happening to people. And you can feel yourself as you're reading it, you can feel your own energy rising up and
Yeah.
changing.
Well, and it's a good reminder too that, you really do get locked in your own situation, what's going on in your country, in your state,
Hmm.
and what's going on here. But we're always evolving. That
Hmm.
we're going to grow, we're going to evolve, and evolving means moving towards connection, moving
Hmm.
towards kindness, moving towards love, moving away from fear. That's what evolving is, and we're always doing that. And even if some countries are falling backwards a little bit, like we're having some issues with falling backwards in some of our rights and things like that, there are other countries moving forward. They're taking leaps and bounds
Hmm.
forward. And so as a whole, we're always moving forward. And I think, yeah, reading things like that and looking at news like that, it's a reminder of that just because we might be moving back a little bit, other places are still moving forward and taking leaps and bounds.
And in some ways, the fact that some of our national focus appears to be moving backwards, it means people locally are having to move forwards, because
Yeah.
that used to make me crazy. I'd talk to readers that would read on politics all the time, and I'd say, who's on your school board? Who runs your city? Do you have a city manager? Do you have a strong mayor? What, you know? And they're like, well, I don't know. And I said, well, don't you think if you clean up your own little nest,
Mhm.
it'll help get things bigger and brighter?
And it empowers you because you actually can you can do something and you can really see a difference quickly. You know, it's not as easy
Mm-hmm.
to see when it's on a kind of a national or international. It's all good work, but when you do it in your own neighborhood, when you do it in your own community, you
Mm-hmm.
can really see differences very, very quickly, and it can really be so empowering. And I think we're all at different points feeling very you can feel very helpless, you know, because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm just little, what can I do? But there's so much we can do. And on that level, man, you see it quickly.
Well, I've had on my Sunday show, which does do politics, I have the youngest candidate on the statewide ballot in Texas. He's 19. He's
Oh,
running for justice of the peace, and he's in college, and if he gets a job, he'll have it for 4 years. And it's looking really good for him. And he started when he was 18. And the
oh,
reason he started was because in his civics class in college, the professor said, what are you doing to make a difference? So this one kid said, well, then he looked at it, and then he met a certain political consultant that I'm related to, who explained to him how to go door to door, get the signatures he needed, and how to start his campaign. And that kid walked 1,100 doors in 3 weekends with some
oh my
friends.
gosh.
And
Oh,
they
that's
got all the
amazing.
signatures he needed, got him on the ballot. Nobody else was running in the Democratic, so he didn't have a primary. And the Republicans finally duked it out. The guy he's running against doesn't even live in the district. He lied about his address. He rented an apartment. It's not
Oh
really,
no.
I mean, really, this is a person you want making your JP decisions, right?
Right?
Anyway, but I had him on my show yesterday, and he said since he started doing this, he has all sorts of people coming up to him on the campus. How can I get involved? What can I do? How can I make a difference? Because, and I told him, they have more at risk than I do. At 77, some of this stuff's going to play out, and I'll be looking down from heaven in that calm state we get into. Apparently, we're on that side. But he'll still be down here working with folks. And
Right.
he said he's so grateful that he did it. I mean, every day he wakes up just so excited because he has this grand potential open and ready for him.
That's
And anyway, that's
that's amazing.
and oh, the other thing was yesterday after he was on my show, um, I had a couple of Canadians that sent me buy me a cup of coffee donation, and one of the women wrote, I wish I could get the young people in Canada as interested as that young man. Well, that's what it's going to take.
Oh,
Somebody seeing I can do this at my age.
yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's right.
That's,
Yeah, you don't know who's watching, right? When you
no,
do something like that, you don't know who's watching you and getting inspired.
or
So
even getting
important.
some adults inspired who
Yeah,
say, "Oh
yeah,
God, I'm stuck here. We're doomed." It don't
yeah.
work that
Look at
way.
this young guy doing this, and what am I doing? Right?
Right. I mean, that's where one person's action has made such a difference
Yeah,
to a
for
great
sure.
many people. And he will make, because the biggest part of JP courts in the area of town that he's going to be working is
Mhm.
truancy. Well, who better to understand truancy and the problems within families than a kid who's just gone through watching that happen to families around him and understands what it takes for him to make it to the next level?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
he never takes that for granted. He says, he said, I've had friends who couch surfed at my house for a while because of problems. And he said, it's difficult, but
Yeah.
throwing them out of school doesn't help.
Right.
You know. So So anyway, with those cheery messages, no, it means every single one of you can be empowered to make a difference. Go out, look up at the sky. You can go out and look at sunset tomorrow. Trust me, they're not going to go boom and pounce apart. They're going to be moving along. It takes a bit, and it's just fun to go out and look up in the sky and see what has been created, the paths that the ancients knew that we're figuring out and working with now.
Right. Yeah. What it was more inspiring, right? Than looking at the world around us and nature and the stars and all of it. It's I
Mm-hmm.
mean we're connected to all of it. It makes
Right.
I was we were talking yesterday about how, I was talking to someone who said, I feel so small when I see things like that. I feel so insignificant and small. And I said, really? I feel like I'm so big because I'm
Mm-hmm.
connected to all of it. And it just makes me feel like I'm so, I'm just expanded when yeah.
Well, the universe as a child, I look up at the sky and the night sky when I was little and we didn't have all the weird light that we have now. Uh, it was just black and you could see every one of the constellations. I was
Mhm.
big into astronomy and I would have been an astronomer, except I can't do math. And um, I remember standing out, and then one day, when it changed for me is when I went out and saw when Saturn and Jupiter conjoined in January of 2021 in the sign of air. And that's, go ask an astrologer, they'll explain it all to you. But it's a big deal. It happens once every 200 years that they shift the sign they're going to meet in for the next 200 years. And I made a point, and I wasn't feeling particularly great, but I hobbled out, and I live by a golf course, so there's not a lot of light there at night.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And I looked up, and there they were. And I thought, and I said, okay, I'm never going to be afraid to look at this again, because it's like I said in the meditation, um, this is when you let the combined light gently pouring out like warm liquid, and it
Mm.
sweeps over you. And it says, yes. What it says to me is no, not that I'm alone, but yes, that I'm a part of the universe.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, thank you, Miss Kim. If you have any other thoughts to say, you keep sending out your good messages, even though you're on the road, as it were.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I hope everyone heeds the call right now, to you kind of let your light shine and remember that you are part of everything and that you
Mhm.
are significant and what you do does matter, to the collective. And so, yeah, so I hope that people remember that right now.
Okay, well, we're going to take one more look at the candles,
Okay.
but we're not going to burn. Normally, this is when I would blow them out, but my beautiful piece of rose quartz, which the meditation on the rose quartz is, I open my heart to love, healing, compassion, and peace. And with that, I'm going to come back and say goodbye with Miss Kim, and everybody's have a good
Have a good
day.
one.